shows up in the real world, like better forecasting, spotting fraud before it happens, understanding customer behavior faster, and staying nimble in the face of constant change. And we'll also take a look ahead at how real time intelligence is shaping the future of enterprise success. Think about adaptive systems, AI that learns as it goes, and insights that power decisions the moment they're needed. It's going to be a packed session, and we're excited to have you here with us as we explore what's possible when your data isn't just stored, but in motion. If you don't have the chat or comment area opened up, please go ahead and do so now. Just look down below if you're on your phone or to the right-hand side of your screen if you're viewing us on a desktop for an area to leave your comments. This is where we'll be asking you questions and feedback because we want this to be a two-way street where it's truly interactive during the time we spend together during this session. So please feel free to share any ideas or questions that may pop up as we go through this session. In fact, let us know right now, where are you joining us from? As you all are sharing with us, I would like to introduce myself really quickly. My name is Monique, your host, and I'm here today on behalf of Pronix Inc. Incorporated. At Pronix, we work with forward thinking organizations that are ready to modernize how they manage and use their data, especially in today's world where real time intelligence isn't optional, it's essential. So, with Microsoft Fabric and Azure AI, we help businesses bring all their data together, whether it's in the cloud or still on prem, and make it actually work for them in real time. Together with Microsoft, we're building smarter, unified platforms that help teams move faster, make sharper decisions, and stay agile in a rapidly changing landscape. It's all about turning data into action and making sure that action drives real, measurable results. Now, before we dive in, I'm excited to introduce the incredible experts joining us for today's conversation. First up, we have Jacob. Jacob, welcome. Please let us know a bit about yourself.
Hi, Monique. I'm Jacob Jensen, and I work for a relatively large pension fund in Denmark called AP Pension. And as one of the absolute first early adopters of Microsoft Fabric, I've been working with it since 2022. And most recently, we were featured in Peter Heinz Steinhardt's latest book called Building Medallion Architectures, which was quite a big deal for us. I believe very much in kind of the idea of an enterprise fabric as it was forged by Noel Johanna back in 2016, where he called it a unified, integrated, intelligent end-to-end platform with automated data management functions. And this is what we've built with our data platform called AP Data that went into production with Microsoft Fabric here in April. So very excited to be here.
All right. Thank you so much, Jacob, and welcome.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sanchit. Sanchit, welcome, my friend. Please let us know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hey everyone. My name is Sanjay Srivastav. I'm a senior manager data architecture engineering in General Mills. I've been in data industry for almost close to 18 years. Hard to believe that, but I love everything about data, and I cannot be more excited where the data right now is. Uh, I'll be sharing with you my skill and expertise on AI and real-time management, and I'm just looking forward to contribute with this prestigious panel. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sanchit. Welcome. And last but not the very least, we have Sanjay. Sanjay, welcome, my friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Monique. And I'm Sanjay. Actually, I'm working for the last more than 20 years with the data, and especially last 10 years for Microsoft Azure and Microsoft Power BI, and also working with the Microsoft Purview. So uh, I'm happy to be here and share my expertise or understanding about AI and Microsoft stack. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. And thank you so much for the introductions. Excited to have such a powerhouse panel with us today. Now let's get into the heart of today's conversation, real-time intelligence and how it's transforming the way businesses operate. We're seeing this massive shift from reacting to data after the fact to making decisions in the moment, and it's changing everything. So let's start with some big picture thinking. Sanjay, we're going to start off with you. And once Sanjay answers your question, Jacob will go to you because that's where we'll understand the why and we'll talk about the how. And then lastly, we're going to learn a little bit about how AI is applied to it by going on to Sanjay. So, first things, Sanjay, I'm going to come to you first, my friend. Why is real time intelligence becoming so critical for modern enterprises right now? And what's driving this urgency?
Actually, the speed is very important in our nowadays business, and without proper and fast speed, we are left far behind, and especially for any business. For example, I will give you the telco. That is a telecommunication company. They implemented Azure and Event Hub, and they are saving now 60% in response time. So without AI and without speed of activities or real-time intelligence, it is not possible. So that's why for the current business and current business situation, it is very important and critical actually to uh, have a right speed and real-time speed to respond to the our customer and client and support them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay. Okay, so now we understand the why. Let's talk about the how. Jacob, how does Microsoft Fabric unify the data journey from ingestion to insight? And what makes this different from the way organizations have handled data in the past?
And that's a very good question. And when I said that I was hooked on Microsoft Fabric, that was because of some pretty basic concepts of one lake and shortcuts and of separating storage and compute. So these three concepts together kind of was a revelation for me because I began seeing the possibility of doing stuff that I've always wanting to do. So one, even though you in one lake in Fabric can store data in any format, Delta Parquet is the main format, and the whole idea here is that you can allow schema drifting. You have schema on read, which means that we don't have the problems with having to define schemas as data hits our storage in Microsoft Fabric. Shortcuts is exactly what it sounds like. So once we have these data ingested somehow, and I'll get back to that in a second, you can make these data available across your organization with shortcuts, and you can give people one-stop shopping, so they can go into their own workspace and have a shortcut to data where it resides inside of one lake. So there's actually 3 or 4 ways that you can get data in real time in Fabric. One of them
Mm-hmm.
is shortcuts, not only inside of Fabric, but also so you can point to data outside of Fabric. That could be in blob storage or in Amazon even. So you can use the compute in Fabric and have your Power BI report run against data which is not actually ingested yet. Another possibility is the one that Sanjay mentioned with event hubs in Fabric. It's called Stream or Stream Analytics. So data can be ingested real time through a KQL database or Custo, as we know it from old times, with an activator on the end of it. So that is a very effective way of bringing in data from IoT devices and stuff like that, where you want to act on it in real time. It's also a very expensive and compute intensive and storage intensive process because it's massively indexed. So the one that I'm the most excited about in Microsoft Fabric for the use purpose in AP Pension is mirroring. And for anybody who's worked with CDC or change data capture in SQL Server, that's exactly what it is. Except that we don't have the old limitations of CDC, where you couldn't change the formats of your SQL tables because it writes to OneLake, where you can allow the schema drift. So you can actually do changes to your database while the mirror is live. And even more great, Microsoft is paying for this. So the storage of your mirror is paid for, and the actual mirroring is paid for by Microsoft. So you can just bring in data into your platform with that. And we are working with it against Cosmos DB as well. And there it's a real game changer because they're automatic SQL endpoints against the data in SQL. So you can actually query JSON documents that are loaded into Delta with SQL as they are mirrored into the database without knowing other languages than SQL. So a lot of crazy possibilities and making it very easy for people like me who work with data platforms to ingest data, taking the E and the T out of ETL, as to say.
Thank you so much for such a thorough breakdown. So, kind of a brief recap there with shortcut, stream, and mirroring. And mirroring is your most favorite way, as you just mentioned, Jacob. Now, based on what you just said, what makes this different from the way organizations have handled data in the past? If an organization started using Microsoft Fabric.
So the biggest difference is if you have a SQL server that you try to ingest these data into, you try to write massive amounts of data with high velocity,
Mhm.
you get a lot of locks and you get a lot of people fighting over access to data. So you have to move data around a lot. So these solutions make it possible that you can store data in one lake, and you have actually separated the compute that other people want when they access these data. You separated that so that you let people work independently on the same data with the tools that they want to work with. That could be Spark or Python or SQL, without having to move data around once you decide on which load pattern you want for your fabric.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now let's tackle the AI side of things. So Sanchet, this is for you. In what ways can AI transform live data into actionable intelligence?
Yeah, there. And as I said, I'm very excited where the data is right now is. And AI has added to that excitement. I mean, let's understand pretty quickly what AI is, like artificial intelligence, right? And now we're talking of new terms like agentic artificial intelligence. And agents are the new way of doing things, like new way of fully automating or adding a high level of autonomicity to the stuff we humans used to do. What does that mean is to make a much more reliable and actionable decision, you need the most recent data possible. You won't want an agent to take action based on the data of yesterday. You would want an agent to make a decision of the data of now. And there is a real-time pictures of the data comes into picture, right? The way industry and fabric is shaping real-time data ingestion, data transformations, easy and scalable, gives a lot of recency to the agents to make a very scenario-based, very business-oriented, actionable decision, which is driving many industries. Like if you see customer agents are out there, which are essentially a pre-layer to handle customer questions. There are agents which can place order for you. There are agents which can place inventory for you. So in many ways, multiple industries have used the benefit of real-time data to stand up agents on the other end and make their processes much more faster and scalable. So huge value of real-time data there. Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. So
Could I add to
basically,
that?
eight. Oh, go ahead. Sure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go
So,
ahead.
no, don't worry. It's just one thing is the real time, and the other one is that at the same time you want to decouple, because one of the questions that I get a lot is, why don't you just run it off the operational systems? Everything is streaming. Why don't you just do that? And the whole idea is that you also need to train your models. So somehow you need to be able to have data storage
Right.
where you're able to cut data off, so you don't make any ex post assumptions on your AI. So you're actually able to train and backtest your AI models on reliable data where you have control over the time. So one thing is the real time aspect that Sanchez is talking about, and the other one is having good and reliable training data that you have organized, so you don't use half a lifetime on modeling something that you already knew what should be. You should do it once and for all. So just adding to that.
No, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Jacob, because I think even just in today's world, well, it might not be new for those who are in the AI world, but agentic AI is like the newest thing to be introduced to a lot of people. And a lot of times people feel like, oh, if we build one or, build an agent and just deploy it, they're expecting these big things. But a lot of times people get confused or don't realize that it needs to be trained, like you said. And there's ways of how to do that. So I thank you for chiming in and saying that. So thank you both, Sanchez and Jacob. Now, Sanjay, I'm back to you, my friend. What are the most common challenges in real time data streaming, and how can they be overcome?
Actually, the biggest problem, as you have heard, and I guess everybody has heard about it, that garbage in, garbage out. So AI basically also work with the data. So if you are not feeding the good data to it, it is not
Mm-hmm.
doing its job, and it is not going to do its job. So the biggest challenge I will say is that the data. We have to have a good quality data. Without it, it is not going to work. Then data governance is also is there, and then complexity of the data and relationship. So unless these three things are clearly defined and taken care at the ingestion point, AI is not going to work. So whenever there is a problem, first we need to make sure that data is good, and that's where the Microsoft Fabric comes in the picture, and within event sensor and everything, event hub, event sensor, and pipeline analytics, all three things. So Microsoft Fabric work with that and make sure that we have a good data there and all the
Mm-hmm.
compliances are there. And at the end, when we are feeding it to, for example, Power BI reporting hub, then we are actually using the good data and representing or giving the right picture to the user. So once again, the good data is the biggest challenge for us. People are jumping without realizing it. They are not creating the basic requirement, or they are not doing the basic work to make sure that good data is there. So for us, and in coming days and coming years, that will be biggest challenge for all the AI models we are going to use to supply it to the good data and good data governance.
Thank you, Sanjay. So, and you're stating that in order to help get that good data, Microsoft Fabric is a great tool to make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Microsoft, actually Microsoft Fabric, Purview, and Event Hub, and the pipeline integration, all three, they are all work together to make sure that
Absolutely.
we have good data there.
Thank
So
you. Yes, thank you for that clarification. Sanchit, how can organizations ensure governance, security, and trust while scaling real time intelligence? In fact, trust was a major theme in our last show or episode, if you will, of doing this panel. And I know that's a big thing with AI, and a lot of people don't have or trust or they're wary of using it. So I would love to know your answer on this.
I'll address the governance part first because I think Sanjay and Jacob has kind of governed it. We spoke about Fabric, Purview, Events Hub, Pipeline Analytics. I think these are the kind of tools you would want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I won't add too much detail, but I think trust is important, right? So, and we can go philosophical around it, saying that trust is earned, which I believe applies on AI too. Um, I would say this: use technology to make your data trustable. And what does that means is all of us are data professional and we know how we audit our data. The old traditional way of data quality frameworks. which probably runs once in a day or maybe multiple times in a day. That's not going to work out for AI world because we are talking of recent real-time data. So why not have machine learning models running in the background, constantly watching your data and its trend, constantly trying to identify where the trends are going out and raising the alarm right away before the data has moved over to the next destination. There are technologies out there, exist in Microsoft, and there are multiple technologies out there who can do that. So, and I have seen in personal experience, once you start building those kind of technology oriented, more recent processes running and auditing your data, the trust, the NPR starts increasing automatically, and that drives the trust. So, good governance practices, good investment in traditional technologies like Purview and pipeline analytics, log tracking, plus the new technology-based governance through AI models, ML models, can really get us to a very close. I'm not one of the ones who will say let's trust AI blindly. I haven't been technologies there yet, but I think getting there 60 to 70% itself is a great start. And with the right technology and the right process in place, that can be earned. So that's how I would recommend, right? Purview, pipeline analytics, and traditional ML machine learning models you can use to do that. Yeah.
Could I add to that, Monique?
Of course, of course.
So one of the questions that we talk about here is trust, and so trust can be multiple things, but there's a term out there called zero trust, which is actually the backbone for one of the reasons that we have chosen one data platform and trying to eliminate the many data platforms that we have and kind of put it into one, because it's always when you move data in and out of platforms and move them around your infrastructure that most vulnerabilities they occur. And being a pension fund, like everything we have is personal identifiable data. Like everything significant we have is personal identifiable data. So zero trust actually means that we only let people in based on their intra ID, and once they're inside of Fabric, it's running on the Microsoft backbone. So we're not on the backbone network. So we're not so worried about private endpoints there, but we're very worried about when data moves around and has to move around behind VNet and stuff like that. So there are a lot of concepts that we have to worry about. And at ingestion time, we also need to be sure that we handle GDPR data so we don't just leave social security numbers and health data and stuff like that in a cloud. And maybe especially in today's political climate, but also with GDPR and stuff like that. We are in a highly regulated sector in the pension sector in Denmark. So we actually decouple us from the source systems, and everything we do and put into Fabric is encrypted with its own key, and we handle the right to be forgotten and all these things that you tend to forget when you just want to work with analytics. So when you're setting up your platform, you need to think about user access, zero trust, and encryption. So there are all these things that have to be in a serious platform, and that you can't forget just because you're talking agents and AI and these things.
Yes,
Or
thank you. Thank you.
I think meeting GDPR compliance is very important. So yeah,
Can
great
I add
point.
some comment too?
Sure, go
So
ahead.
we are living a very interesting society. We say, okay, we human, as a human level, we need to trust each other, but the data level, we don't want to trust anything and anything. So we say, God, we trust, but for everything else, we need data. And that's where the Fabric is actually, Microsoft is working a lot of good things, and data governance and the quality of data. So yeah, we need to have a good data and the right data also at the same time to work with everything. Thank you.
Stefan. Yes, yes, most definitely. Thank you to each of you for contributing to that, especially Sanchit. It was actually perfect. Sanchit, you started with the philosophical view. Jacob provided some practical means to doing so, and Sanjay supported that as well. So thank you to all of you for that. So this next question is to both you, Sanchit, and Jacob. What steps should enterprises take today to become future ready with data and AI?
Yeah, great point, right? I mean, I'll break this question into two parts. The very first part is how can we, how is the data ready? And then the second part, we'll talk about how can your data be AI ready, right? Let's just do that, right? I mean, I think in terms of your data readiness, we need to have proper governance, proper quality, proper, transformation tools, speed to delivery still matters. I would probably add proper modeling, since modeling is coming, making a comeback is very important, right? Make sure you're investing some time in all of these aspects and not ignoring them just to deliver insight super fast, right? Invest in frameworks, not individual pipelines to save the time on a longer term. I'm a big fan of focusing on the team's strength is. Like, my team's strength is building transformational pipelines, AI/ML pipelines. I don't necessarily want them to invest time in managing the quality all the time. So again, build frameworks, right, which are automatically managing the quality, but thereby enabling the teams to do the real work. So have these key building blocks of a traditional data platform figured out, set up in the right way, and have the right guardrails around them is your basic step number one. Nothing goes if this is not going to work, if this is not in place. And then there are a few sprinkles you might want to do when you are making your data AI ready. AI, unlike big data, relies not just on quality data, it needs a lot of context about the data. What does really this data means? Now, there are many ways of doing it. As part of governance practice, you want to catalog your data in a third party location or maybe along with the data. Now, suddenly, not only your data quality matters, your context quality matters for your AI to understand how good or bad it will understand your data. So invest in small things like adding context, adding metadata, right metadata to your attributes, tagging every data asset to a business capability in your organization. That our data can serve supply chain, may not be able to serve customer related questions. Define relationships, right? Relationships are making a comeback because it gives LLM a thought process to connect two different data assets. So those are the little things you would want to start tweaking into your existing data foundational steps, which we spoke about before, to make your data AI ready. And then there is much more, right? We have heard the words of data dictionaries, glossaries, joint repositories, semantic layers. I mean, those were the concepts before, which were dragging the delivery earlier, but now they are essentials for your LLMs and for your AIs to understand and make the right decision on your data. So invest in automating these processes too. How can you generate a glossary by using the power of AI? How can you track your pipelines to generate a joint repository? How can you do a reverse process to create a semantic layer? Together with the right data foundation and the right context foundation, I think AI technology is decent enough to give you a actionable output. So that's how I would put it in. Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, but two points actually. One following up on what you said. So context is many things, and I agree. And we're working a lot with purview and metadata and stuff like that. But actually, just data modeling still lives. So that's an important point because data modeling in itself gives context to the agents or the co-pilots or whatever that you want to build your BI or whatever you want downstream and use AI for that. If you build a good and sorry, my age is probably revealed here, but if you build a good dimensional model on top of some of your data, that provides context as well. So not just for the real time, but also for data that doesn't need to live in real time. So that's one of my points. My second point is actually for, and I just think it's important because I think that these multi-platform setups for smaller enterprises is a trap, and you get starstruck by all the things that you can do in this platform. Then you look at another one and say, "Oh, that has this little feature over here that I want to be able to do as well." Then you build an integration layer between it, and you get it to work. And it might work now. I just feel that down the line, if I want to future proof the stuff that I'm doing, I have to go. If at least if I'm a medium sized company or smaller. I have to go with one vendor and kind of say, I'm going to follow Databricks. I'm going to follow Microsoft. I'm going to follow whoever, and kind of get value out of what they deliver. Because if I try to build my integration and do everything, stuff will break, and I will have to maintain it. So you kind of have to buy into the concept of the platform that you're investing in. So that's actually an important point for how do you future proof something. Buy into the concept, especially if it's software as a service. It will be alpha and omega going down this line.
I love that, Jacob. Buy into the concept of, especially like you said, with SaaS or any type of software, because I think, with AI, people are so quick to give up if it doesn't come out right with something, or like it's emphasized good data being fed to it and all these different things. But a lot of times it's because a lot of people still haven't bought in fully, bought into the concept or into the idea of using AI to help
I,
um,
I agree.
facilitate things and make it effective. Yeah.
Exactly. Buy into the platform. Do everything you can do in the
Right.
platform. Like
Mm-hmm.
try everything out in there. Don't limit yourself to a model or something like that. But you have to buy into the platform, because
Mm-hmm.
if you do that, something will come in half a year that you
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect. So we're moving away from the best of breed kind of
Right.
hybrid setups
Yeah.
into we're picking one and we're getting the value from that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Most
it
definitely.
simplifies the architecture and integration endpoints very, very easily. So less breaking points. So yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. And next question is back to the both of you, Sanchit and Jacob. Um, what steps, sorry, that was what I just asked you. But the next question is, how is real-time data leveraged with business value?
Great question again, right? Um, I mean, as I said, right, world is moving towards AI agents, but let's not go there, right? I mean, we will get there at some point of time. There are many cases, right? If you have data, on a real-time basis being analyzed, being vetted out, you can make use of it in many different ways. I've been part of the organization where we have used data to identify life-threatening mechanical problems in a machine, right? I mean, think whether the tires are tied properly or not, right? And if they're loose, it's a life-threatening situation for any motorcycler who's riding the bike, right? So you can use in such use cases. Customer agents are very simpler, real-time use cases we have seen. Chatbots are traditional use cases we have seen. I mean, just the ability to have a customer data presented over to a customer rep and make a sales pitch based on their behavior at that point of time drives a lot of ROI for a business, right? So many such scenarios exist where either you are increasing your sales or you're handling your business expectation based on a personalized persona by interacting with the customers in a much more personal manner, right? Based on the data behind the scene, drives a lot of growth for any organizations. There are many use cases in healthcare, right, where they are genuinely checking your data points, your health data points, and alerting you if they see some anomalies in your body structure behavior. So many such use cases are there, but everything goes through the right data foundation and right and reliable data. So yeah, Jacob.
Jacob, do you have anything to add?
Well, just you've come with all the good cases. If I kind of look, internally, a lot of stuff like data quality that you mentioned before, but also log analytics. Everybody who's worked with monitoring systems, like setting agents up to do this. Previously, it's been rule based, so you kind of look for something, and when you see that, you react on it. So maybe like streaming data in and having unsupervised models running on that and saying, this doesn't look like it usually does. Like maybe you should look over here is very interesting. And actually, since we in AP Pension have used a lot of, we have a lot of Microsoft in there. Like I said before, we can make shortcuts to out to where data is and to the log analytics, or we can get it in through event streams, so we can actually monitor multiple systems and actually have a health check and kind of roll that out, like build our experiences on our own data platform, and then say this is actually how we can use AI to monitor the health of a system and what is happening in a system, and doing that. So that's just another use case coming from the very kind of technical data engineering world that I live in.
And I
Thank
would
you.
like to
Go
add
ahead,
one more
Sanjay.
thing here,
Sure.
that we are already using in manufacturing and the real-time data. What we are doing, we are using Microsoft Fabric with the stream data sensors, where they feed all the data from each and every stage of the manufacturing. So proactively they are finding the problems and fixing the problems. So that is a very good
Mhm.
use case of real-time data. And AI, where we are using finding the different patterns of different problems in the manufacturing process or the steps, and figuring it out and fixing it before that happened, before the accident happened. So
Thank you,
And,
Sanjay.
but just one word of warning: not everything is prone to real time analytics. Now, that is the topic of this of this event. But there are a lot of, when you do things in real time, there's a lot of things that you give up. There's some price. There's some data quality. There's some modeling. There's a lot of stuff. So you need to figure out which of your use cases actually needs real time and which don't. So it's just a word of caution that it's not the solution for everything.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. All valid points there. Um, So we're about at the halfway mark of our questions, actually a little bit further along, but we would love to hear from you too. And I'm talking about you, the audience. If you got any questions, whether it's about real-time data streaming, how Microsoft Fabric actually works in other cases, using AI for analytics, or even just tackling data integration headaches, drop them in the chat. I know we have a few people who've asked questions thus far, so thank you so much for that. But our expert panel is here and ready to dig in, so don't be shy. We'll be pulling your questions throughout the session and also in just a moment. So, Sanjay, what is the role of human expertise in a real time AI driven decision environment?
Yeah, I think this is the most important question of the today's topic, and very interesting question also. And answers are not easy to come by, because we are hearing every day that within couple of years, every four job out of five will be gone to AI, because AI will take over everything. But when I think it more thoroughly, that it seems that AI can create a lot of develop, understand the pattern, it can create the pattern, but it cannot understand the context. For example, I will give you from a movie, a very popular movie of the time. It is I, Robot, where the first scene is that car is drowning in the water, and the robots go there and they save the mother, not the child, because they think that probability of life is for mother is greater than child, and they leave it. And the mother was very furious and very sad that why you left my kid. because a robot cannot understand they can do all the analysis, but they cannot understand the context. So there where the human being comes. So we can again, AI can create all the patterns. They can do very fast analysis. We can come up with so many very nice looking Power BI dashboard and whatnot, but they cannot understand context. So context, human need to be there to understand whatever data is being analyzed by the AI or any automation tool. So that is the first thing. And then there is ambiguity also. There is because sometimes the data comes in so many different ways, the AI cannot understand and they get confused very easily. The human being can understand and identify the ambiguity and take the decision correctly. So that is one thing. So I will give another example. Whenever you are in ER, people are stream of people are coming around and they see that okay, they say okay, you number one, number two, number three. AI can analyze all the details that, okay, these are the people, but a human being can understand that who need the care first. So it is very important to understand this difference that AI can analyze the data, they can create a pattern, but human being is required to understand the context and take the right decision. So
So actually, it's pretty funny. I had a data scientist explain to me that AI doesn't understand what you're doing. It's predicting the next word. So it's not LLMs are not understanding your context. It's making it the most probable next word and making that into a sentence that seems understandable to you. So there's actually not a computer understanding of what you've done. It's just a probability of what would make sense. And
yeah,
and what we've seen in some of our bigger things that we've been doing is that if you make the context with where the AI works too big, it has too much information in order to guess what the next word is. So if you can chunk up stuff and you can help the AI find the necessary context and help it guess better, then that is where the human interaction will actually do a lot over the next couple of years. Maybe it'll get better at fixing it itself,
yeah,
but for now, that is actually one of the biggest problems of AI.
yeah.
It's very good in small contexts.
Yeah, that's why I hope we will never reach the Terminator point. Terminator means
Yeah.
the Terminator movie, where the
Hmm.
AI becomes self-aware and they decide that human beings are not required. So hopefully we will not be
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
If I can add to it, right? I mean, the only thing which I feel we as human beings or technocrats have to probably do is learn how to work with AI, because AI can definitely do the mundane, repetitive work faster than
Yeah,
us and use our superpower brain to do some more innovative and creative work. Um, yeah, so that's what I agree, everything you guys said, but do not
yeah,
ignore it because it's important enough to be paid attention to. Yeah.
yeah. We
Even with
cannot
even
ignore
if
it.
you sorry, even if you ignore it, you're going to use it anyways. You might as well
Right.
be using it consciously.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Only thing we
Okay.
need to learn how to use it properly and effectively,
Yeah.
but not
Most. Yeah.
replace the human being.
Right.
Important.
Exactly. All of those things, and again, tying into what Jacob said earlier about going all in on the platform and learning that platform. So all of that comes into play. So, Jacob, because we only have 15 minutes left, so these next two questions, because we want to give some time to the audience, let's get through these next questions. Jacob, how does Microsoft Fabric enable cross functional collaboration through shared data insights?
I think I've touched upon that, and I think that the most important thing for us is that we have created a much quicker time to market on data products. So imagine we've been actually been developing a new system, a new production system for all our policies, and we have about 50 test environments where the test people want to work with data. Data is in Cosmos DB and everything. And we've actually created a process where we can take data out without having to code very much and stream it into our platform and make columnar data available for people to work with in normal SQL or Power BI, whatever, against a multitude of test environments with a very little team. So it's only a couple of people doing this. Just imagining trying to do that 5 years ago, I would have said, no way, you have to pick a test environment and we'll get maybe some data from that once a week. Right now, we're streaming data from multiple test environments and making it available right away and knowing that the quality is right because it's handled within the platform. So actually, that's just one way of doing this. And the other one is by having this medallion architecture that I told you that we've been working very much on, we know where the data are in our different layers of quality in our medallion architecture, and actually knowing that people are hooking into this and not copying data out so that we have the time factor out there, but knowing that they're always working on the latest version of the data that they have found and that they need, but only have kind of a one-stop shopping for where to go to find that data is just mind-blowingly different from what we've done before.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacob.
I
And
like
then
to add one very small
sure.
thing here, that Microsoft is not working only with Fabric. They are calling it now, I think, Microsoft Copilot ecosystem, where they are integrating Copilot with everything, including Fabric. So it will be Microsoft Fabric Copilot, Microsoft Power BI Copilot, and so on. And there they are saying that they will integrate everything, and every piece of data will be available all the time from the very real time. So thank you, Moni.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. All right, our last question is to you, Sanjit. What role does real-time analytics play in shaping customer experience and personalization?
Right? It makes a huge difference when real time comes into the picture, right? I remember when I started my career and I was working for a US retail behemoth, there was insight which was generated that if you put beers next to diapers, beers sell along pretty well, right? We can understand troubling new dads, right? But ethically, that doesn't make sense because now you have, kids, the baby stuff next to alcoholic beverages, right? But that was then, and most likely retailer would have done it. I don't know, right? But now, just fast forward now, you have the same insight, but you do not have to co-locate them in the store because the moment you know through a personalization data store that an individual has become a dad and is entered into Target, you know what you have to send a campaign for. And there you go, right? Once on the campaign on the app shows up, hey, special price for you on this beverage, I'm pretty sure a tired dad will walk over 2 extra aisles and pick that beer, right? So, I mean, that personalization nature driven through real time data and portraying it in front of the customer, the need of them at that very hour is a huge driver for any business, right? Be it retail, be it manufacturing. So real time has a huge role to play for any organizations, right? Who are looking at their baseline. So I think this is one of the examples I thought I would love to share with you guys. Yeah.
All right, so let's open things up and take some time for you all's questions, as in the audience. We've covered a lot already, everything from real-time data flow to how Microsoft Fabric and AI are working together to power faster, smarter decisions. Now we want to hear what's on your mind. So go ahead and drop your questions. I know there's some who already have in the chat if you haven't already, and we'll bring a few of them into the conversation now, and we have our panel weigh in on this. So I love this question. I'm actually going to ask for all three of you. Um, this question, a lot of people talk about adapting to change, but it's not always easy. From your experience, what mindset shift helped you the most during tough transition? I think that's a really good question. Who wants to tackle that first?
Yeah, as a human being, we are
I
not
mean,
ready for any change.
correct,
We
totally.
we always resist change, so it is not easy to for anybody unless we start training from the very beginning, from our own school system, to help our kids to help them to understand that change is inevitable and we have to be ready for change. Otherwise, it is not easy. Everybody has to train by themselves and learn by their own experience. So, and sometime what happens, just like AI, it is going to happen no matter what. Whatever we say, we talk about context of a human being and whether we are not human, and so on, or AI will take all our job. And still, a lot of people are resisting. They are saying, no, AI is not coming. AI cannot do this. AI cannot do that. I said, you are right. AI cannot do a human thing, which is just like understanding the context. But otherwise, AI will change everything and replace everybody. So either you are ready or not, you have to adapt. So at
Okay.
this point, we have to train ourselves that, okay, change is inevitable. Change happens every day, every year, every season. So we have to work with it and learn from it. My
I
this
actually
one.
have two examples that I would like to bring up. I have a team of 10 people working with data engineering. So my data engineering team is 10 people, and data engineers are usually not very subject to change. They want a long kind of horizon to work in. And the first thing that really changed everything was actually being very precise on that we have to see ourselves from the outside of in to from the outside in. We don't deliver value as data engineers if data is not used. So we need to understand, we need to be ahead of the business by about half a year if we can, and knowing what will pop up out there so we're ready to answer those questions. So that's one thing. The whole fabric journey has been a big deal. Telling my staff, uh, I'm not going to change. I'm going to stick with this platform, and we have to adapt, and we have to be smart, and we have to use it to the extent that it can. Being very clear about that. And the last thing is actually a fun little example that I did, and I'm looking forward for to next week, because I made a competition in my team where I asked all my engineers to come up with the most innovative way that we can use AI to solve some of the tasks that we have in our team, and give everybody should give a 5 minute presentation. So in that way, AI doesn't become something that somebody else does or has to be big and strategic. It can be small things that we do, but we need to change our mindset and we need to learn how to adapt it into our ways of working. So trying to change a mindset, those are the three things that I would say that I've done.
Thank you, Jacob. Sanchit, do you have anything to
Yeah,
add?
yeah. I would quickly say this, right? The answers are in the past, and it's always be easy to be the first one. And why is that, right? We engineers, right? I lead an engineering team too, right? So we have seen the journey of data being nowhere behind the scene to data at the front of everything now. And we have lived through the pains of ingesting the data, modeling the data, and data modeling and whatnot, right? Try out AI into some of your current pain points with zero expectations, right? It's always easy to be the first one to try out because you are starting from zero. Nobody has fed anything into you. And in my experience, I've been working with AI for like 3, 4 years now. In my experience, you are going to fail first. That's okay. Accept it as a learning. You're going to fail second time. That's also okay. But you will see that the dial is moving forward. Third, fourth time, you will start seeing the value. And there is a curve to it, right? You're going to struggle, right? Our team is a pretty large team. It's almost 2 years where we have pushed AI to our team. And till recently, I never got a sense from my team that, nope, we are going to adopt it. Till recently. But we kept pushing, we kept doing experiments like Jacob mentioned, right? Hey, play AI in this manner, do some demos for AI. And recently we are seeing that we are almost increasing our deployments by X factor, which was shocking to me too. So once you have through that curve, you will find the value automatically. So don't give up, right? Is what I would say. But don't be just crazy to start building the most complex thing with AI. Start small, build the knowledge, and then you will find how AI can help you in doing something new. Yeah.
You. Thank you so much. So we have 4 minutes left, right? And that was a great thank you to your answers and whoever asked that question. That was a great question. I want to get through these two questions. So, but let's kind of make it like a rapid fire as far as answering them. Hold on. Let me just find the one I wanted to do. Okay, here. Okay. How is, and I think Sanjay, you kind of started answering this question, but here it is. How is Microsoft Fabric leveraging Copilot or other Gen AI tools to make real-time insights more accessible to non-technical users?
So maybe rapid fire. Check out the AI skill. Check out the agent, the agents in there where you can chat with your data. Look at the public previews. If you have a unified agreement, you probably have access to some sandbox environments where you go into Microsoft Help or you go into to the support portal, and you can actually try these things out without having to install it on your own environment. So uh, just see it and then think of it again outside in. How can this actually help the users, not just the engineers? Like, how does the platform help non-technical people eat your own dog food? Figure out how it can help other people.
Love it. Thank you so much. Next question. When unifying the data journey with Microsoft Fabric, how do you handle legacy systems and existing data silos that don't integrate easily? Sanchit, you want to
Uh,
answer? And
yeah,
Jacob,
yeah.
maybe? Go ahead. Go, Sanchit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most heavily asked and troublesome problem for engineering teams are to handle silos, right? You have to work with the team who use that silo. So understand your downstream uses of those silos. Educate them with the new thing you're going to build. Or if you already have data, educate them how your existing data platform can already meet those requirements. Tell them the benefit, the pros and cons. Understand the ROI of those silos. What are they driving? Are they extremely critical or are they just lying down for the ease of them lying down? It's going to be much more collaborative initiative than being a very complex technical transformation project. But you have to set the expectations right. You need to understand what will happen if this silos goes away. So do your impact analysis pretty well. And then there'll be a business expectation management, which you will have to do, which is using those silos. So it will be some work, both technically and executively. Yeah.
Just
Much, Sanchit.
30
Go
seconds,
ahead,
I can
Jacob.
probably, my
Go
take on
ahead.
it would
Go
be,
ahead.
so one thing, the person who asked this question is probably has probably a use case that that I have not really had in my head, but doesn't integrate easily is something that you may want to explore because you've separated compute and storage. You're not trying to force data into structures. You can actually dump it in the blob and begin working with it as JSON documents or whatever format you're coming with. And there are multiple integrators for moving into Fabric. And in the last example, you can even work with it where it resides via networks or via shortcuts. And one of the interesting things is there's a lot of integration, for example, to Snowflake. If you look at the Delta Parquet, it actually has Iceberg indexing on it out of the box. There's integration with the Unity catalog in Databricks. So explore if it's actually not easily integrated or if you think it's not easily integrated, and then look for roads around it.
All right. Well, that is our time. Unfortunately, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today. First and foremost, thank you, Jacob, Sanjay, and Sanchet, for participating in this conversation. Hopefully, you all enjoyed it as much as we did, and I'm talking to you, the audience, because it was a great pleasure to have this conversation. Um, Again, my name is Monique, and it's been a pleasure hosting this conversation on behalf of Pronix Inc. in partnership with Microsoft. So, we've covered a lot of ground from unifying your data with Microsoft Fabric to tapping into real time analytics and using AI to make smarter decisions faster. This event's recording will be available on the same LinkedIn Live event page for those who missed it or wish to revisit these discussions. At Pronix, we're all about helping organizations modernize their data strategy, break through integration roadblocks, and actually get value from their data as it's happening, not after the fact. And I know that was definitely stressed with Sanchez saying real time data, right? So thanks again for spending time with us today. We appreciate your energy and your questions, and we look forward to staying connected as we keep pushing the future of enterprise intelligence forward together. Take care, and we'll see you next time.